Let's talk actually about the player in Alex Nylander that's coming back. His stats from last season at the NHL level, he scored 1 goal, tallied 1 assist as well in 9 games played. He led the Pittsburgh Penguins in road mileage in the season, driving between Wilkes-Barre and Pittsburgh. And then at the AHL level, when he was down there, 25 goals, 25 assists for 50 points in 55 games. Horwat, when he was at the NHL level, what did Alex Nylander show you in those 9 games?
That he was certainly a better option than quite a few players in the bottom 6. I mean, he played fairly well alongside Zucker and Malkin, but at the same time, I think we all jumped to conclusions. I discussed this before on the podcast. Let's not all get it twisted. Alex Nylander's probably going to be a third-line player next season too. At least that's where he should start, and then move up or down from there. It's is he an NHL player? Yes. Is he a top 6 NHL player? We'll have to wait and see. Truly, I just don't want this team to jump to the vast conclusions of sticking him in the top 6 right away because he scored 50 points in the AHL. That's nothing to scoff at, but at the same time, he scored 2 at the NHL level. And I know it was garbage time of the season too. I mean, this team couldn't do anything toward the end, but you still need to produce a little bit more than that. And he played 9 games, but how many was he healthy scratched for? I forget right now.
Probably close to 9.
Yeah. So it's part of that is Mike Sullivan's doing, but we can't just immediately say this man's a top 6 player. Should be playing alongside Malkin or Crosby and then going from there. You have to be realistic with him. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think most people, when seeing this deal clearly, obviously the money tells you the same story. Like it's not a guy that they're signing saying, hey, he's going to fill the role of Jason Zucker next season, because it's not realistic, right? He's not that type of player. Now, is he a player that in a pinch with injury issues could potentially go up there? Yes, I think he does have the skill to keep up on those lines. Do I think he has the skill to excel on those lines? Probably not. Like he could go up there and he could take the time and he could eat up the minutes. He could score goals, but is he somebody that going into next season you're penciling in as an option for the top 6? No, I don't think anybody actually is, or at least anybody with a brain actually is. And they a lot more along a line with Horwat, what you're saying, which is, hey, he's a guy that can go into next season and fight for a third line role to start the season.
Exactly. I think whenever he got called up initially, it was, we didn't know what to do with him, and then he's got an secondary assist, right?
Yes, in the
got
first
a secondary assist with Zucker and Malkin, and everyone decided to freak out and say he should be playing there regularly. I mean, sure, Brian Rust didn't have a great season, but I mean, come on, let's be realistic here.
I think also the point was like it was finally somebody outside of the big 6 forwards that actually looked like he belonged in that line. Now, not that he was, hey, this guy's a top 6 forward, but that, hey, he can play there. Like, he can survive there. He could potentially thrive there. Like, there's potential there, which is something we didn't see from anybody in the bottom 6 the entire season up to that point. I don't know if it was the secondary assist that people were like, hey, 1 game, 1 point, because if that was the case, I mean, I guess people are, and me included, people are saying, hey, Valtteri Puustinen is a point per game player at the NHL level. But at the same time, when I look at Alex Nylander, it's a kid who has the legs, has the offensive talent. Can he put it together at the NHL level consistently is the big question, right? He hasn't played much at the NHL level over the past 3 seasons. We'll see if he's able to, over the summer, improve to the level that gets him to where in training camp he impresses the coaches enough to get a spot on the opening day roster. And we still don't know who he's going to be fighting with, because we imagine that there's 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 bottom 6 players that have yet to be revealed that will be on the roster heading into next season.
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see if any more of these easy paper transactions go through while we're still waiting on a general manager search to occur, because you assume Drew O'Connor is going to get a similar deal to that, right?
Yeah, I would say Drew O'Connor might get a little bit more, like he might be around the $1 million range, but I don't even know. Like, that's the thing. I don't think you're going to see any multi-year contracts. I might be wrong.
Okay.
But this is a 1-year deal. I don't think these 4, if they are indeed who are going through and making these signings, these 4 guys are going to say, hey, we have a new general manager coming in. We're going to lock him into a player for 2 years because we like him. I think they're going to be like, hey, this was a piece of business. Take it or leave it. Because if the new GM doesn't like Nylander, it's a league minimum deal and it's easily buried in the minor leagues.
Yeah, and I'm just now realizing, too, that it is still an RFA deal at the end of it.
Hey.
We're going to have RFA status. That's another solid option there. Tidy
piece of business. Maybe it was also like Nylander being like, I just want to be under contract, guys, so I can enjoy my summer. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this.
That's fair. And it's quite simple. I mean, that's one thing we need to discuss eventually, too, is that he's got World Championship coming up. He's got Team Sweden to play for. He's got his brother to watch in the second round of the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's very possible as well that he just wanted to get it done so he can enjoy the beginning of his summer before he's got more hockey to play and watch.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I noticed and that stood out to me in his 9 games this season, because, listen, was he impressive? More impressive than I think I expected. Was he more impressive than a lot of the guys in the bottom 6 for the Pittsburgh Penguins this year? Yes, he was. Like, at the end of the day, he was. But the one thing that stuck out to me was that he was better defensively than a lot of people said he would be. Like, that was the thing with Alex Nylander. They said, yeah, he has offensive upside, but dude doesn't play defense. And we all know that if you don't play defense as a forward, Mike Sullivan's not going to like you all that much, right? We all know the headbutting that him and Danton Heinen have done with the, hey, you're benched for the rest of the game. Hey, you're healthy scratched. Why? Because Danton Heinen sometimes says, I don't feel like playing defense. So with that and seeing Alex Nylander get called up, I was like, okay, here we go. Like, where is this kid at defensively? He was not great. He was not amazing, but he was more serviceable than I expected whenever he got to the NHL level. And that, to me, is a good sign for Alex Nylander. It's something that on the broadcast, every single time he was out there, Bob Airy or Steve Mears, or even when I was listening on the radio and Getzoff, friend of the show, would say, hey, this is something that he's been working on at the AHL level. And clearly it looks like it's taken to heart. And it's shown that in this game that he is taking those strides to get better defensively.
Yeah, and why do you think Jonathan Gruden was called up earlier in the year? His defensive play, not so much his offense. Is Gruden still one of the top prospects in the system? Probably, because our system is shallow. But he was called up specifically because he's got defensive mindset. Now he ended up only playing like 5 minutes a game, but story for another day. That's all. But for Nylander, the fact that he's been working on it that pushes you a long way into Mike Sullivan's system, and also. One of the big things they had Sam Poulin try and work on his entire tenure since joining the organization was, hey, you're going to be a great player. Now it is time to also focus on some defense.